Hi, in this session we are going to discuss an important topic for which you are all waiting. That is, types of IT companies and their entry process. This session is going to be useful for freshers, students and experienced professionals who want to know entry process at different companies, and especially product-based companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Yahoo, Apple and many other companies on the similar lines. Since we have so many IT companies, it is very difficult to go through each company, know their entry process and prepare for. So to simplify the discussion, what we do is we categorize the IT companies into different types and we generalize the discussion of entry process at each of those types. Before the discussion, keep one thing in mind. Even if Google, Microsoft, Amazon goes for a campus placement, say MITs, CMUs, IITs, NITs, they cannot hire the entire class. But if you look at 2-3 years down the line, 80 or 90% of the class will be part of one of these product-based companies. What I mean to say is, you take whatever you are getting as part of the campus placement or off campus and you keep a long-term goal with focused preparation. And it will be very easy to enter into one of these product-based companies. So that is the focus of our discussion for today. Let us divide the companies into three types. Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. So what are the companies that comes under Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3? Within Tier 1, we have companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and many other similar companies, product-based companies. Here, Oracle, Computer Associates, United Health Group, IBM Software Labs, and many others. Here we have service-based companies like IBM Services, CTS, CSC, Infosys, Wipro, PCS, and many others like Tech Mahindra and few more. So within Tier 1, usually has the top product-based companies, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, Apple, and many others. You can add Flipkart and other as well. Within Tier 2, we have companies like IBM Software Labs, Oracle's Computer Associates, United Health Group, and all. And these are mainly service-oriented companies. How do we define Tier 1 companies, Tier 2 companies, and Tier 3? This classification is based on salaries and the entry process. So if you take Tier 1 companies, usually the salary range is 11 to 20 lakhs for the freshers. And for Tier 2, the salary range is 6 to 11 or 12 lakhs. And here 2 to 5 or 6 lakhs. In USD, if you want to discuss, usually it is 95K to $1.5K. And here 70 to 90 or 100K. And here if it is top service oriented company. And these are all for freshers. So from now onwards, if you refer Tier 1, it means these are the companies. Tier 2, these are the companies. Tier 3, these are the companies. So we are generalizing the companies into different categories, Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. So in the entry process also, we'll be discussing in terms of Tier 1, what is the entry process, Tier 2 entry process and Tier 3 entry process. Now let us see the focused areas for Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. For Tier 1 companies, the focused areas are data structures and algorithms, anyone hoops language, preferably C and C++ along with Java, Python or any. Having hoops language concepts will add extra advantage whenever we encounter the design questions. That's why we are adding hoops language. Along with that, understanding of design patterns. Any scripting language. General IT trends, say big data, cloud computing, Docker containers, Jenkins. It's pretty much like DevOps concepts. What are the new IT technologies that are being used by different companies? Latest IT technologies. So having this knowledge will add extra advantage again when you are giving the solutions. Along with this, computer science fundamentals like OS, networking, DBMS. Having fundamentals are enough. For example, if you go to OS operating systems, you should be in a position to write the multi-threaded program by selecting any of these languages. If you go for networking, you should be in a position to understand how DNS works, what is the OSI layers, how the IP ranges, so subnetting, supernetting, those concepts. If you have those understanding, that is enough. Now coming to Tier 2 companies, the focus for Tier 1 companies is data structures and algorithms, design patterns, unique scripting language, general IT trends, and computer science fundamentals. Be careful actually. When you are referring data structures and algorithms, you should be very strong in that. You have to go inside the data structures and algorithms, pure problem solving approach, and whatever the question in data structures and algorithms, you should be in a position to solve. We'll come to that actually, how to prepare for that. Within Tier 2 companies, they also focus on data structures and algorithms. I simply put like DS and all those. Design patterns. All the concepts, whatever we are seeing, they are pretty much there. These are the common topics that we need to prepare for Tier 2. We have data sets and algorithms, design patterns, scripting language, computer science fundamentals, general tracks as similar to this one, language specific entry questions. So the extra additional thing is language specific entry questions like C, C++ entry questions, Python entry questions. But what is why we are actually preparing, adding extra topics per type? Compared to Tier 1 companies, Tier 2 companies, they do ask data sets and algorithm questions, but not to the extent of Tier 1 companies. They are usually easier compared to Tier 1 companies. Commonly asked entry questions on DS and algos. For example, how do you check whether there is a loop in a linked list or not? How do you find nth node from the end of the linked list? How do you find the merging node of two different linked lists? So those are the common entry questions. We all prepare for those linked list entry questions. They are usually aware of such questions and they can easily solve them. Similarly, on design patterns, you do actually total 23 patterns are there. 23 design patterns are there. Out of these 23 patterns, if you remember 10 or 12, that is enough for type 2. You don't have to remember all of them and understand them inside. So DS and all goes not to the extent of Tier 1 companies. Design patterns, just having understanding of basic design patterns is enough. Any scripting language, shell scripting, Python, Perl, any one scripting language. Just basics. Computer science fundamentals as similar to this one, general trends similar to this one. Language specific entry questions. As I said, like when we are moving from Tier 1 to Tier 3, the focus for DS and all goes from top to bottom, it reduces, and focus for language related aspect increases. So for Tier 3, if you go more specifically, they will be asking C, C++ interview questions, Java entry questions, Python entry questions. They don't ask algorithmic questions. They usually ask DS questions like what is stack, what is queue, very basic definitions. So that is the way. If you are preparing for Tier 1 companies, you have to give full focus for each of these concepts. Full insight, data sets and algorithms, hoops languages, design patterns, any scripting language, general trends, and computer science fundamentals. If you go to Tier 2 companies, DS and all goes, even if you skip some topics like dynamic programming, string algorithms, that is okay. But just you need to prepare the commonly asked entry questions on DS and all those. Similarly, some design patterns understanding, scripting language, remaining things are same. On top of that, you need to prepare C, C++, Java and entry questions as well. Now, when we come to Tier 3 companies, most of the Tier 1, Tier 2 companies, they focus on DS, algos, design patterns and all that. But Tier 3 companies, usually they don't focus on that. The focus for Tier 3 companies is GRE pattern. So you know the design pattern. So the focus for Tier 3 companies is GRE pattern. Basics of data structures. Language entry questions. C, C++, Java, and group discussions. Quants, quantitative and aptitude. And other OS. So for Tier 1 companies, these are the concepts. For Tier 2 companies, these are the concepts. And for Tier 3 companies, these are the usual focused areas. So for Tier 3, usually they ask only the definitions of data structures. What is stack, what is queue, what is tree, what are different algorithmic, what is dynamic, just the definitions, that is enough. You need to prepare fully the C, C++, Java entry questions. You need to understand group discussion concepts, how to prepare for group discussion. There are some tips which we can usually use for group discussion. quantitative aptitude, and computer science fundamentals. Now let us look at the textbooks that we have for each of these types, Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. For Tier 1, we have three different textbooks for data structures and algorithms. C++ edition, Java edition, Python edition. Those who are into C++, they can go for C++ edition. Similarly, if they are into Java, they can go for Java edition. If they are into Python, they can go for Python edition. I suggest not to buy multiple books because the content is same. Only the programming language, the code is different. Algorithm is different. Except the algorithm, everything is same. So don't buy multiple books. So the name for this one is Data Structures and Algorithms Made Easy. This is the textbook of C++ section, yellow colored. For Java, Data Structures and Algorithms Made Easy in Java. And those who are into Python, Data Structure and Algorithmic Thinking with Python. That is the Java Python edition. These are the textbooks for data structures and algorithms. So if you are into C++, go for this one. If you are into Java, go for this one. If you are into Python, go for this one. As I said, like, don't buy multiple books. The content is repeated. Now coming to design patterns, we have Peeling Design Patterns book. Again, this textbook is only for entry point of view. If you want to learn design patterns in depth, this book is not enough. You have to refer other textbooks. Similarly, on data structure and algorithms, these books are mainly for entry preparation. If you want to prepare in-depth of data structure and algorithms, you can refer other textbooks like Corman, CLR, or any other textbooks. We do not need any specific textbooks for scripting language. You can refer online resources, either Python, Perl, or shell scripting. You can just refer online. And to understand these concepts, you can refer online resources like what is big data, what is cloud computing, what are Docker containers, what is virtualization. You just need to have understanding of those concepts. For example, if you get an entry question on design, like design entry question, if you have understanding of these concepts, it will give different view of solving the problems. It will give some hints for solving the problems for you. And for this one also, you can refer any textbooks because they are just fundamentals. You don't have to refer all the complicated problems inside each of these areas. Just the basics of computer science fundamentals from OS point of view, networking and DBMS point of view. So within Tier 1 companies, we have different books, C++ edition, Java edition, Python edition, Peeling Design Patterns. Within data structure and algorithms, we have three versions. Those who are into C++, they can go for this one. Those who are into Java, they can go for this one. Python edition, similarly for this. Now for Tier 2 companies, we have a textbook called Coding Entry Questions. For Tier 3 companies, we have IT entry questions. This book, Coding Entry Questions, covers the data structure and algorithms, design patterns, scripting language basic, computer science fundamentals, all the concepts what are required for Tier 2 companies, all will be covered in this book. Similarly, IT entry questions book covers all this one except the quantitative aptitude. For this topic, you can refer other textbooks like R.S. Agarwal or any other textbook for quantitative and aptitude. So these are the common textbooks that we have for different Tier 1 companies, Tier 2 companies and Tier 3 companies. So if you are preparing for Tier 1 companies, Take one of these along with the design patterns textbook, that is peeling design patterns. If you are preparing for type 2 companies, go for coding entry questions. If you are going for type 3 companies, take IT entry question. But never by multiple. So first you will select the target companies and then based on the, you can go for the textbook selection. Now let us see type 1 companies in detail. As I said, like within type 1 companies, we have Microsoft, Google, Amazon, LinkedIn, now within tier 1 companies, if you are preparing for any of these companies, tier 1 companies, as I said, like you have to prepare data sets and algorithms in depth, like dynamic programming, string algorithms, hashing, divide and conquer, greedy algorithms, trees, graphs, linked list stacks, queues, and all these concepts in depth. So if you follow those our books, actually it is enough from DS and Argo's point of view. Similarly on design patterns, as I said, like we have total 23 patterns, fundamental design patterns, not the architectural patterns. Out of 23, you try to understand as much as possible, because whenever you get a design question, if you know the design patterns, it is very easy to solve them. So within tier 1 companies, if you look at the entry process for any of these companies, usually 4 or 5 rounds will be there. If it is off campus. If it is campus interview, usually 3 to 4 rounds. Because whenever a company goes to a campus placement, the number of interviewers are limited and they have to interview some 20 or 30 people. Since they have a time constraint, usually they reduce the number of rounds in the campus placements. Other than that, there is no difference in the entry process. What are the concepts that we need to prepare for campus and off campus? There is no difference. Out of these 4-5 rounds, each round will have one DS question, DS algos question, and one design question. This design question will be easy for freshers. If you get more experience, the design questions they will be little more complicated. So for freshers, usually they don't stress so much on design entry questions, but for experienced, they stress design entry questions more. So each of these 4-5 rounds, one data section algorithm question, one design entry question, and another small queries like what is your project, what are you doing, they will try to understand what you are doing in your current projects. But usually they ask one design question, one data section algorithm question. Now, for DS and algos, we have a problem, we can have multiple solutions, and if we prepare our books, that is enough. For design patterns, for design entry questions, unlike data sets and algorithm questions, there is no fixed solution. For example, they might be asking, how do you design KFC? How do you design movie theater? How do you design grocery store? Like, for example, in grocery stores and movie tickets, usually they will give the combo offers, right? If you buy this one, they will give other offer. And all. How do you apply actually classes and objects? How do you apply the design patterns on those things? So if you prepare design questions, design entry questions, design patterns, it will be little easier to solve such questions. As I said, like unlike data sets and algorithms questions, there is no fixed solution for this one. For data sets and algorithms, we have a fixed problem and solution. If we prepare our books, that is enough. For design questions, since there is no proper solution, so during the interview questions, you try to communicate well. Keep explaining that I am using these design patterns because it has different advantage. So design patterns talks about how efficiently we create the classes and objects. So we have some class. Within class, we have different functions. Data sets and algorithms, they focus on functions of the classes and objects. Design patterns, they focus on classes and objects. How efficiently we create the classes and objects so that it is easy to manipulate. So design questions are very much important as you gain more experience. Currently, the Tier 1 companies, Tier 2 companies, they are giving little focus to design patterns compared to data structure and algorithms, because the interviewers are also not much aware of design patterns. They are little complicated, even though there are 23 patterns, but understanding those 23 patterns needs insight of different concepts. How we are creating the classes, how are we creating the objects, how efficiently we are manipulating them, and all that. That you will understand only when you have more experience and if you put extra effort in understanding them. Data structure and algorithms little easier, because if you have fixed solution for a given problem, it is easy to understand that. That is why people are focusing on data structure and algorithms during these days for Tier 1 and Tier 2 companies. But if you take 4-5 years forward, going forward, everybody will be aware of data structure and algorithms, because everybody is preparing data structure and algorithm interview questions, and they'll be understanding what are different solutions are there for a given problem. So what I guess is, future of Tier 1 interviews will be focused more on design patterns than data structure and algorithms, because everybody is aware of data structure and algorithms. So that's why I'm trying to explain you that design patterns is very much important. Give focus for that. Okay. So as I said, like out of 4 or 5 rounds, one interview question on data structure and algorithms, second interview question on design patterns. For freshers, they give little focus for this one. They focus on data structure and algorithms. Sometimes they ask 2 DS and all those questions for freshers. But for experienced, they usually ask 1 DS question, 1 algos question, and 1 design pattern question. Now let us see interview difficulty level within Tier 1 companies. These are all Tier 1 companies. Moving from left to right increases the difficulty level, interview difficulty level. That means Cisco interviews are easy when compared with Microsoft. Microsoft interviews are easy when compared with Amazon. Amazon interviews are easy when compared with Google and Apple. The reason for that is, except Google and Apple, remaining all companies, during the interviews, the interviewer, whoever is asking the questions, they can ask whatever they want. The interviewers can ask whatever the question they want within all these companies except Google and Apple. Except Google, remaining all companies, interviewers, whoever is asking the questions during the interviews, they can ask whatever they want. They can ask whatever the interview question they want. Usually people remember the interview questions or whatever the concepts if they understand well. If the concept is complicated, people usually tend to forget. During the interviews, as I said, like in all these companies, interviewers can ask whatever they want. And they remember the things and they understand well. And they understand the concepts which are little complicated. Because of that, all these company interviews are little easy when compared with Google and Apple. But in the case of Google and Apple, interviewers cannot ask whatever they want. Before 30 or 40 minutes, system will generate a question, interview question to the interviewer. And he has to ask the same question and see how the candidate is performing for that question. He can ask other questions, but this question should be compulsory. The system generated question should be compulsory and he has to give the feedback based on that. In all the remaining companies, interviewers can ask whatever they want and they give the feedback based on those questions only. Because of that, all these company interviews are easy when compared with Google. But why we are saying Amazon interviews are complicated when compared with Microsoft? That is because within Amazon, there is a concept of bar raiser. Remember, interview preparation for all these companies are same. The focus is same, the concepts are same, the focus areas are same. But each company has different way of doing the interviews. That's what we are trying to understand. Within Amazon, there is a concept of bar raiser. So out of these 4-5 rounds within each company, in Amazon, one interview will be taken care by the bar raiser. Bar raiser is the one who has so much experience in taking the interviews. Usually, might have taken 300-400 of interviews within Amazon. Who can judge the candidates well. So out of these 4-5 rounds, one round will be taken care by bar raiser. During these 4-5 rounds, bar raiser focus on a lot of other factors, not only the code. Bar raiser observes whether the candidate is writing the comments or not, whether the candidate is thinking in the logical direction or not. If you don't know the solution and if he gives hints, whether he is able to catch or not, whether he is checking the base conditions or not, whether he is checking all the error checks or not. So a lot of all these minor things he will be keep on observing. Not only the code, he keeps on observing all these factors. That's why we are calling him as bar raiser. And he is the main in deciding whether we have to select the candidate or not. So once we are done with all these 4-5 rounds, all these interviews along with the bar raiser, they will go to a meeting room and they will be deciding whether you have to take the candidate or not. And the coordinator for the meeting is the bar raiser. Bar raiser will be asking each interviewer whether the candidate is good or not. He will be asking what are the pros and cons for each of the candidates. But the ultimate decision is taken care by the bar raiser. So he keeps taking the positive points and negative points of each candidate from each interviewer. And finally, he decides whether to select the candidate or not. But in Microsoft and Cisco, there is no such concept. There is no bar raiser. Usually the manager takes one round, but there is no very strict rules for checking whether the candidate is good in every aspect of. The focused areas are same for all of them. Because of this bar raiser concept, Amazon interviews are little complicated when compared with Microsoft. Another important thing during the Amazon interviews is 50% rule. During these 4-5 rounds, each interviewer will be comparing the candidate with 50% of the Amazon employees. It will be just guessing, but he keep observing whether the candidate is good when compared with 50% of current employees of Amazon. If he feels that he is not good compared to 50% of employees, he may reject the candidate. So because of the 50% rule and bar raiser concept, Amazon interviews are complicated when compared with Microsoft. But the questions are same. The kind of questions they will be asking are same. The preparation is same. Now let us see the salary packages within the Tier 1 companies. Before that, let us try to understand different divisions in each company. For example, in Microsoft, they have different divisions like IDC, MSIT, Global Delivery and Services. India Development Center, Microsoft IT Division, Global Delivery and Services. Similarly, if you take Amazon, they have Technical Division, Operational, and Support. If you take Google, they have Technical, Services, and Support. You take any other company, for example, IBM, they have IRL, ISL, and Services. They might be calling with a different name. As we have seen, the interview difficulty at Microsoft is easy when compared with Amazon. Amazon interviews are easy when compared with Google. Let us ignore that. Now to understand the salary packages of Amazon, Microsoft and Google especially, on similar lines we can assume for remaining companies as well. I'm just trying to give insight so that when you're applying for a position in Microsoft or Google, Amazon, you'll understand which one to consider. So Microsoft IDC division is the best one, top one. Next one my MSIT and the next one is GDS. Similarly, technical first division, second division, third division. So when you are preparing for tier 1, we should focus on the first division. Whenever you get an interview call for MSIT and if you prepare for tier 1 companies, it's not going to be useful much. We'll come to that why it is the case. Similarly, technical division is the top one, operational and support. Technical services and support. Usually, if you take Hyderabad and Bangalore divisions of Microsoft, 20% of them belongs to IDC, 70% of them belongs to MSIT, and 10% maybe GDC. They have other divisions as well. They call it as MSR, research actually, which we don't usually consider because they are usually for PhDs. Similarly here also. So if Microsoft is going for a campus placement, how do they decide which college to consider? Usually, Microsoft IDC division, they consider IITs, NITs, IIITs, and other famous colleges, BITS, Pilanis and others. And MSIT, different next level of colleges. And GDS, next level of colleges. So when we are applying for Microsoft interviews or Microsoft openings, first target for IDC, then MSIT, then GDS. Usually IDC division, generally they don't go for other colleges. MSIT division, they don't go for IITs and NITs, IIIT colleges. Similarly for. You might be thinking why Microsoft gives different salaries for different colleges. It is because of this division. IDC division takes care of the pure product development like Microsoft Server division, SQL division, Bing, that means go Microsoft Search division. All these are part of IDC. MSIT takes care of the internal products for Microsoft. And usually the last one is services, customer support kind of. Usually all NITians, IITians, IIITians, all these will be part of IDC. Who will be part of MSIT? People with experience and with Microsoft technologies. For example, let us say someone has worked in TCS or Wipro, Infosys for 10 years and he has experience in .NET technologies. Those kind of profiles, they will be considering for MSIT. People who don't have IIT background, NIT background, IIIT background, they can try for Microsoft MSIT division with some experience. And similarly for this. So usually IDC division they hire from IITs, NITs, IIITs. MSIT usually they take the experienced fellows from different service-oriented companies, and similarly GDS. Same is the case with Amazon Technical Division. So Amazon Technical Division, if they are going for campus placement, they usually prefer this category. If operational division is going for campus placement, they go for next level of companies. Similarly for support. That is why when you are applying for tier 1 companies like say Microsoft, Amazon or Google, you need to be careful which division you are applying for. See the job description. Whether it belongs to IDC, whether it belongs to MSIT, whether it belongs to GDS, whether it belongs to technical, operational or support. Always try to prefer the first one. If you want to have some brand, you don't have NIT brand, IIT brand or IIIT brand. If you want to add some brand, and if you are not getting the call for IDC, you can prefer MSIT or operational. But once you join some technical operational division or MSIT, after getting 2-3 years experience within Microsoft or Amazon, you can apply for IDC. Similarly for Google, this is the first division, second division, third division. Now, if Microsoft division is going for a campus placement like IITs and NITs from IDC division, the salary packages will be different. Like we divide the companies, right? Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. Colleges will also be graded. Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. Usually, IDC division prefers the Tier 1 colleges. MSIT prefers the Tier 2 colleges. GDS prefers the Tier 3 colleges. Same is the case with Amazon and Google. Similarly for IBM, you take any company. Within company, there will be a lot of divisions. And the salary packages of each division is different. For example, if you take IBM, they have IRL, ISL, GBS. The starting salary of IRL is 25 lakhs. ISL is 8 to 12 lakhs. Depends on the college. If ISL is going for IIT, the salary package is different. If they go for NIT, the salary package is different. If they go for different college, the salary package is different. Similarly, GBS, Global Business Services. Usually salary range is 3 to 5 or 6 lakhs. That is why when you are applying for a position in Tier 1 companies or Tier 2 or Tier 3 companies, see the role, see the division and try to prefer the first role. If you don't have any other brand, it is okay to go at any other division. For example, if Microsoft IDC division is going for IIT or NIT campus hiring, they will be offering 13 to 17 or 18 lakhs. If MSIT goes for a campus placement from Tier 2 colleges, they will be offering 7 to 12 or 13 lakhs. Similarly, it will be like 4 to 7 or 8 lakhs. That is why you might be hearing different salary packages from different colleges and from different divisions. Similarly here also. Now, another thing that we need to consider is, we are just discussing the salary packages within Tier 1. Interview difficulty is from left to right. Microsoft interviews are easy when compared with Amazon. Amazon interviews are easy when compared with Google. Within Microsoft IDC, technical and technical. IDC division of Microsoft is equivalent to technical on the similar lines. So if Microsoft IDC division is offering some 12 or 13 lakhs, same technical division from Amazon, they might be offering 14 to 15 lakhs. Similarly, 17 to 20 lakhs. So that is the range. Within Microsoft, we have IDC division. Within Amazon, we have technical division. Within Google, we have technical division. Again, within Microsoft, the packages of IDC is less when compared with the technical division of Amazon, technical division of Google in the similar lines. So interview difficulty is left to right. Salary ranges are also left to right within each division of each company. In this session, we have discussed different types of IT companies, different divisions within each company, and their salary package ranges. And we have also seen what are the concepts that we need to prepare for Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. And also compare the interview difficulty level with different companies and along with the salary package ranges. And we have seen that Microsoft interviews are easy when compared with Amazon interviews. Amazon interviews are easy when compared with Google interviews. Because we are saying Google interviews are complicated because the questions were generated by the system. And within Google, there is a separate team to generate the questions. In the case of Microsoft and Amazon, there is no separate team for generating the new questions. But in the case of Google, there is a separate team to generate the questions and to feed into the system. And since there is a separate team, usually the complexity of the questions are more. So when you are preparing for Microsoft, Google, Amazon, you need to give full focus for data structure and algorithms. And for Google, especially dynamic programming, string algorithms, hashing, divide and conquer, all these concepts you need to give full focus. You should not leave any concept. Sometimes people might be thinking how to get an entry call for Tier 1. For this question, I usually say If you are preparing for an exam and if the preparation is so good, you don't have to worry whether the exam is today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow or after a week. You are ready for the exam all the time. We never care for the date of the exam. On the similar lines, if the preparation is so good for the Tier 1 companies or Tier 2 or Tier 3, we don't have to worry when we get the interview call. Whenever we get an interview call, we perform well. That is enough. When the preparation is so good, you will get different level of confidence. That is what is needed. But especially for Tier 1 companies, if the profile is good, if you upload it into any portal, usually within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you will get the interview call. Especially Microsoft, Google and Amazon. If you go to the bottom of the pages, you'll be jobs at Google, jobs at Microsoft and Amazon. If you upload it to that, that also fine. If there is a match, definitely they will call back within 2-3 days. But before that, you keep the preparation 100%. Without preparation, don't waste the interview calls because within India, you have very limited top product-based companies. That's why I'm saying don't apply for the companies without preparation. Also, as I said at the beginning, even if Google, Microsoft, Amazon goes for a campus placement, they cannot hire the entire class, even if they go to IITs, NITs, MIT. But if you take 2-3 years down the line, most of the class are part of the big product-based companies. So, if you want to enter into Tier 1 companies, have a focused preparation and have a long-term goal so that it is easy for you to enter into one of these product-based companies. Why do we need to enter into Tier 1 companies? Why not Tier 2, Tier 3? For example, especially in India, if you are part of Tier 3 companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, where the starting salary is 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs, throughout your life, over 25 years experience or 30 years experience, you might be buying 2 apartments. Assuming your savings are so good, and normal apartments, not the luxurious. If you are part of Tier 2 companies, you will be buying 2 luxury apartments with all 25 or 30 years experience, or 3 to 4 normal apartments. And if you go to Tier 1 companies, you'll be buying 3 to 4 luxurious apartments or 4 to 5. In between, if you are doing something extra, like some innovation, you might be developing some products or you're starting your own venture. Because entering into Tier 1 companies, it gives different level of thinking. Having that in mind, if you are not starting your own company, you might be buying 3, 4 or 4, 5 different apartments, luxurious apartments. If you are starting your own venture and if you are successful, things will be totally different. Also, within Tier 3 companies, some companies are giving salary packages of 1.2 lakhs to 2 lakhs for the freshers, for BTech freshers. And with that salary, you cannot survive in any metropolitan cities. Once you get married, you'll be in debt every month. It is better to leave the job and go to your village and live safely without debt. So that's why you have to target for Tier 1 companies, at least in the long term. If not possible, Tier 2 companies. If it is compulsory, then only Tier 3 companies. And also remember, when you are entering Tier 1 companies, you will be getting some brand associated with your profile throughout your life. For example, let us say you don't have IIT brand or NIT brand or IIIT brand. Somehow if you are able to make into Tier 1 companies, that brand, Microsoft brand, Amazon brand, Qualcomm brand, Google brand, that is going to be useful throughout your life. Remember that. So that, for example, after 3-4 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you want to take some break, 2-3 years break. If you have this brand, the tier 1 brand or these brands, you can come back to IT field safely anytime. That is why for your profile, try to add either these brands. If not possible, try to add this brand. If not possible, try to add this brand so that you can use that brand throughout your life. And believe me, preparing for Tier 1 is easy when compared with Tier 2. Preparing for Tier 2 is easy when compared with Tier 3. Because in Tier 3, we have to prepare a lot of other concepts, quantitative, aptitude, language related aspects, group discussions, and all that. Tier 2 companies, we have the fixed set of focused areas. Tier 1 companies, we have fixed set of focused areas. As you say, like within Tier 1, we have to prepare data structure and algorithms. Not beyond that, actually. Design patterns, data structure and algorithms with simple scripting language concepts. That is enough. But in the case of this one, you have to prepare group discussions, quantitative, aptitude, language, C++ interview questions, Java interview questions, fundamentals, so many other things. And they focus more on language related stuff. Because these Type 3 companies, most of them are service oriented. That means whatever the Tier 1 companies are developing, the products which are developed by Tier 1 companies, they have to service by the Tier 3 companies. So since they are servicing the products of other company, they cannot make the selection of languages or technologies. That's why during the interviews they give more focus for the language related stuff, C++ interview questions, Java interview questions, and specific to technologies. And professionals usually they concentrate on group discussions because they have to service the products of Tier 1 or Tier 2 companies. These days, a lot of projects are geographically distributed. So if you want to communicate well, other teams should understand what you are talking. That is why they are mostly focusing on group discussions. Again, remember, why they are focusing on group discussions? Why not Tier 1 companies are not focusing on group discussions? If the candidate is not good at group discussion or communication, they cannot train easily. But if the candidate is not good at technologies, they can train them actually. They can motivate them to learn the new technologies and get it done. That is why Tier 3 companies, they're focusing on the personal development skills, group discussions, communication skills. In the next session, we will have a detailed focus on group discussion, how to perform well in the group discussions. So have a long-term goal with focused preparation. It is easy to enter into Tier 1 companies.